Okay, welcome back, guys. This is Professor Light. This video is for chapter 10. All right. So let's start to talk about the chapter 10, which is quality management and Six Sigma. All right. Now let's start to talk about, first let's look at the learning objectives. All right. So this chapter is related to quality management, right? So before we even talk about what is the quality management, right? First, we have to kind of understand what is quality. Okay, so what is the definition of quality? Okay, when we talk about quality, what are the dimensions that are related to quality? Right? We have to first understand this kind of thing, this very fundamental thing related to quality, before we can start to do the quality management. All right. So the first learning objective is to explain the scope of the quality management in a firm. Okay, what is quality? What are the dimensions of the quality? And what is the brief picture about the quality management? That's all about it. All right. The second learning objective is to illustrate some globally recognized quality benchmarks. All right. So as most of you guys already know, that we have the ISO 14,000, ISO 26,000, ISO 9,000. All right, these are very common international standards related to quality management. Okay, for the criteria that I just mentioned, every different criteria actually has its own focus. So every criteria is different, but we will briefly talk about what every criteria means. Okay, what it's used for. All right, and why we need this type of the international standardization for quality management. All right, so this is about the second learning objective, and then the third learning objective. Okay, first, and then we start to talk about we start to introduce the quantitative method called Six Sigma approach. Okay, although Six Sigma approach itself is a type of quantitative method, which is based on the statistical analysis. All right, but it's still based on the qualitative characteristic of the quality management. All right, so we will first understand what is the Six Sigma approach qualitatively. All right, and further we will basically use the Six Sigma approach, this quantitative approach, to improve quality management or productivity in the production process. All right, so this is about the third one. All right, and the fourth and the fifth one, even the sixth one, yes. So these three learning objectives, all right, is to use the Six Sigma approach to quantitatively, reduce the variation during the production process. Right? If the variation of the production process is smaller, of course the quality of the product probably will be better, right? Because it's more closer to what you want, right? Okay, so we use the statistical tool to help improve the quality management, okay, based on the Six Sigma approach. All right, we will detailedly talk about everything, all these different objectives just in a second. All right, probably in the next video. All right. So let's first start talk about the quality management. All right. So okay, here the slide give us the definition of total quality management. Okay. So it says that okay, the quality management is managing the entire organization so that excels on all dimensions of the products and the services that are important to the customer. Okay, so this definition is a little bit abstract. Okay, but let me give you a sense about it. All right. So first, before we do the quality management, okay, why we need to basically improve the quality for the product? That's the first question we need to understand. Okay. Of course, the product is for customer, right? So customer is always the focus for the firm. So the reason that we improve the quality basically is to better fit for the customer need, right? So first, before we do the quality management, we have to understand what is the customer need for this product or services, okay? In all different dimensions. Okay, what means by all dimensions? Let's say for this product, okay, how is the feature of this product? How is the performance of this product? Is it reliable? Is this a reliable product? Okay, it has some problem. All right. How is the service of the product performed? All right. So these are all different dimensions about the products or services. Okay, but no matter it's a product or services. Okay, so the reason that we are trying to have a better quality management is to fit customer needs. That's why we're trying to manage all dimensions of product and services in order to better fit for customer needs. That's the quality management, the key insight of the quality management. All right. So in order to increase the quality, all right, there are two fundamental things that we are trying to reach, basically. All right. So these two things, okay, the text will give us the name of it. All right, the name of these two different things, which are called design quality and then conformance quality. Okay, so the first fundamental operation goal is to carefully design this product or services based on the customer needs in all different aspects. We call it design quality. Okay, and then the second fundamental operation goal is to ensure that even though the design quality is very clear, all right, it's very clear, we still need to make sure that the organization system can consistently produce this design. We call it conformance quality. Okay, people may wonder what is the difference between this different quality. That's actually very straightforward, very simple. All right, let me give you a very straightforward example. Okay, so let's say for a product, if 100 points is the best performance of this product, okay, is the best quality of this product. Okay, first let me ask you a question. Do you think the firm will always make this product at 100 points? Of course, if there is no cost related to improving the quality, every firm is willing to do the perfect product for the customer, right? The perfect products. But sometimes in the reality, okay, the firms may not be willing to do that, because if I always improve the quality, the associated cost probably will be very high, and it may not be, the firm may not be willing to do that. It may be too high, and based on the cost benefit, the firm probably will do excellent but not perfect product. Okay, so now let's say the firm finally decide to produce 90 produce a product with a 90 score. Okay, score of 90. All right, score of 90. Then we can say, okay, the design quality of this product is 90. All right, out of 100. But even if you plan to produce a product with a score of 90, all right, with a score of 90, it doesn't mean that finally you can produce this product with a quality that is having the score 90 for sure. All right, because you also test your ability whether you can produce that design, right, based on your the conformance quality. All right, let's say, okay, finally you plan to produce a product with a score of 90, but your conformance quality, the ability basically is, let's say, 90% of your design. Okay, then finally the real product that you can produce, the score of it is around 80, right? Because you have to use 90% times that 90 score in order to get around 80 score. So finally, your product is 80 out of 100 or 81 out of 100. Okay, but give you this a quick example in order to give you a quick sense about, okay, what are the two different operations goal in order to, related to the quality management. Okay, the design quality and the conformance quality. Okay, and in this chapter we will mainly talk about the conformance quality. The conformance quality. Okay, design quality is based on the overview of the management decision. All right, but we will also talk about design quality just in a second. All right, now let's go to the quality gurus. Okay, so this picture actually is directly from textbook. Okay, I just talked about some fundamental things related to quality management. But people may wonder what are different dimensions? What are the things should be included when we talk about quality? All right. So here, these are there's three different philosophical leaders of the quality movement. Okay, their name are Philip Crosby, W. Edwards Deming, and Joseph Juran. All right, these three different people. Okay, so yeah, so they try to measure the quality in different dimensions. All right, in different dimensions. I will not detailedly talk about the every definition of the quality in their own on their own perspective. All right, but if you're interested, you could look through all this information within this table. But the thing that I want to say is that although their definition for the quality management is a little bit different, all right, is a little bit different, but they are actually conveying exactly the same general message, Okay, so in a big picture, all right, in order to achieve this outstanding quality, okay, it always requires the following things. All right, first, it requires the quality leadership from the management. All right, it needs the quality leadership from the management. All right. Second thing, always the most important thing. Okay, always focus on your customer. You need to fit for your customer needs. All right. So if you do not fit for your customer needs, then all the improvement is not for the customer. The customer won't actually think this is a great quality product or service. Okay, that's useless. All right. So always focus on your customer. That's the second thing. Third, you also need to have more involvement of the workforce. Okay, even if you have a great plan, even if you know exactly what customer needs, all right, but you still need to train or engage all of your employees or managers in order to implement the plan that you have, right, as a firm. So you need to better involve the workforce. That's the third dimension. Okay. The fourth one is the continuous basically the continuous improvement based upon the rigorous analysis of process. Okay. So when you're trying to improve or maintain your quality of the product, all right, you will actually have some you will relate to the production process. You have to figure out, okay, so even if this is a very good product, okay, you cannot make sure that every unit of this product is perfect. All right, you must have some defective things. Okay, but when you have the quality problem, okay, how to deal with it? You have to do some analysis. You have to figure out what is the reasoning behind. All right, in order to improve the quality. So you need to use the continuous improvement philosophy in order to maintain, and improve your quality management. So basically, these are the four fundamental dimensions of improving your quality management. First one, let me repeat again. First one, you need the quality leadership from the management. Second, you need to focus on your customer, right? Third, you have to engage all of your employees, okay, all of your workforce. Fourth, the last one, you have to have a continuous improvement, all right, based on the rigorous analysis, All right, so and then based on these four dimensions, if you look at the the detailed information related to every philosopher or philosophical leaders showing on this table, you'll figure out, oh, actually the key insight is exactly the same, based for the quality. All right, I won't spend too much time on it. Let's go to the next slide. All right. So yeah, this is a quality specification. Actually, I already talked about the design quality and the conformance quality, right? So design quality, all right. So in order to fit for the customer needs in the market, in order to compete with other products, all right, you have to first plan. You have to have a very clear plan, and you want to improve your design quality, all right, to better fit for a customer need, all right. And then the conformance quality, even if you have a very clear plan, you have to implement on it. All right, implement on products. You have to make sure that given this clear plan, okay, I can meet the requirements for the plan. All right. So basically, that's why conformance quality is the degree to which the product or service design specifications are met. All right. So this is the second thing, the conformance quality, and we will mostly focus on conformance quality in this chapter. All right. The third one is quality at the source. Basically, it's about whether the person who does this work is responsible for ensuring the specification are met or not. All right. So this is related to whether we can, whether we can train our employees, involve those guys, let them engage within this process in order to, first they have to understand what is your plan, right? And secondly, you have to monitor all of them, let them to work hard and make sure that the product you plan to produce is actually producing, all right, in the actual situation. Okay, so this is the quality at the source. Yeah, so okay, let's skip one step further. All right, this slide is about the dimension of design quality. Okay, the dimension of design quality. All right. So normally when we talk about the quality, okay, we always consider all these different dimensions. Okay, different people may have different weight on different dimension. All right, but when we talk about the quality of a product or service, normally we will consider all these different dimensions. Okay, first of all, when you look at the product, let's say iPhone. All right, so you first need to kind of look at what is the primary product characteristics. All right, the iPhone basically is a telecommunication product, right? It will help you to to better communicate with others, okay, through phones, through different apps. All right, so this is the basic characteristic or basic functionality of this product. That's the first thing probably you evaluate. Okay, for most customer, but for some customer they may not put more weight on this dimension. They may put on other dimension. Let's look at the other dimensions. The second dimension is the features. Okay, let's say still based on iPhone, right? iPhone has the let's say the iTouch, the touch button. All right, it's the when iPhone 4 come out to the market, it's actually very new and not other products like that, right? So it's very elegant. That's why people the customers think, okay, this thing is very new, is fresh, and I want to buy it. Okay, so actually this is the feature dimension of the product. This is related to the feature dimension of the product. They will give you a sense that the quality for this product is good. All right. So the third dimension is about the reliability. All right. So let's say for a product, okay, let's say still back to iPhone example, if you drop it on the floor, okay, whether it's easy that the screen is crashed or or it's actually kind of durable, right? And it will give you a sense about whether this product the product iPhone is reliable or not. Okay, or even if there's no accidents, right? If this product can use for, let's say, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or only for 1 month, 2 months. All right, it will give you some sense, give you some feedback about how reliable of this product. Of course, reliability is a very important dimension related to quality. All right, the first one, serviceability. Once your product has some problem, okay, probably you will need to take this product back to the warehouse, back to the retail store. Okay, let the technician to help you fix the problem, right? Is it easy to do it? Is it too expensive to do it? Is it very fast for you to do it? Okay, that will give you some some sense about how serviceability of this product, right? How serviceability of this product. Okay, the next one is aesthetics. Okay, so the aesthetics dimension of the quality is more and more important in nowadays products, because right now the products, many products can be customized, and in order to differentiate your product from other product, actually aesthetics dimension, it becomes more and more important, right? And this is probably one of the most important reason that iPhone can beat other competitors. In a few years ago when it comes out, right? It looks very elegant and it's different. It actually has a very big screen, and everything is based on you can just use your you can just touch the screen and you can figure out and find a lot of things. All right, so aesthetics becomes more and more important, right? So that's why actually more and more products, more and more firms, when they produce a product, they're not just thinking about whether the performance, the features, the reliability, okay, or even the serviceability is good or not. Right now, they're also looking at whether it's beautiful or not, right? Whether it actually is elegant, whether it's simple but very, you know, um, decent, right? So yeah, so don't forget about the aesthetics dimension. Okay, it becomes more and more important. And last one is perceived quality. Okay, what is the past performance reputation of the quality? Okay, based on the customer feedbacks. All right. So these are all different dimensions of quality, related to quality. And all right. So you see, actually, when I talk about the quality, I'm actually standing at the customer perspective. All right. But since when the firm is looking at the quality dimensions, they still should stand from the customer need, from customer perspective. That's why, okay, the dimensions of the design quality is as follows: the performance, the features, reliability, serviceability, aesthetics, and perceived quality. These 6 different dimensions. Okay, and like I said, different customers may have different, you know, um, voice on different dimensions. Okay, but as a firm, since actually most of their product would be standardized, right? Although sometimes you can customize in a certain way, but the product itself, the big picture of this product should be standardized, right? So that's why when firm decide what is a appropriate design quality of this product, all right, they have to kind of weight the different dimensions. Okay, yeah, with different dimensions based on the characteristic of this product itself. Okay, that's a marketing thing. Okay, and that's yeah, also very important. We're not talking about the detail of it. Now let's go to the cost of the quality. Okay, the cost of quality. So the cost of quality include these 4 different things in a big picture point of view. All right. So we know that if you are trying to, as a firm, if you are trying to improve quality, right, it will incur costs, right? As I said just at the beginning, if it doesn't incur any cost, then basically every firm will try their best to, to produce a perfect product. But that's not true. That's not the actual um, reality, right? That's not the reality. Each time when you try to improve your quality, it will incur costs. Okay, that's why instead of producing a perfect product for the customer, the firm normally will try their best to basically provide an acceptable product for the customers. Just because sometimes if you increase the quality of this product, it will incur too much cost. Okay, and based on the cost benefit analysis, all right, they may think, okay, for this product, it may not be they may not be willing to do that, right? Because they will lose their money. Okay, so let's go back to the cost of quality itself. All right, so here we include 4 costs. Okay, so the first one is called appraisal cost. Okay, what is appraisal cost? So it's the cost of the inspection and testing to ensure that the product or process is acceptable. All right. So basically, this is the implementation or test costs. Okay, this is the implementation or test costs. Okay, basically you're trying to inspect or test whether this product is good or not, is acceptable or not. All right, it's not to test whether this product is perfect or not. No, we are trying to test whether this product is or this process is acceptable or not based on the criteria that's set for this product. Okay, we will talk about what is the criteria. All right, and actually different firms may have different criteria. Okay, we'll make it simple. But right now, the basic for the definition of the appraisal cost, basically just the cost of inspection testing this product. All right, so this is the appraisal cost. The second one is called prevention cost. Okay, the prevention cost, based on this name, is actually very straightforward, right? All of the cost that is related to prevent, to get rid of the defective products, should be related to prevention cost. Okay, so the prevention cost basically is the cost that to explore the reason why we have defective process within the production process. Okay, we're trying to explore the reason that the defective products happen, why this defective product happens. Okay, this is a fundamental cost. All right, so prevention cost is very important. Okay, it's very important. Okay, so the third one is the internal failure cost. Okay, even if you have very specific and very good quality management control, you cannot get rid of the defective products. Okay, I can say almost in all of the firm, in all industry, in every firm, even if all of the things will be made by machine, okay, there still have some defective things happening because machine sometimes also may make some mistakes. Although the probability of having mistake is lower, but it doesn't mean that it won't make mistake. Okay, that's a different thing. But when we have the defective things, all right, when have defective things, it will include two different failure costs. The first one is called internal failure cost. Okay, so this relates to the cost for defects incurred within the system, like the scrap, rework, and repair. Right? Once we have these defective products, we have to scrap, rework, and repair. This is related to internal failure cost. It will incur cost, which is internal failure cost. The external failure cost. Okay, so when you have these failure things, you also need to incur cost for defects that's passed through the system. What it means, okay? Let's say you have the defective things, right? So you may actually you will incur customer warranty replacements, right? Replacements. You may lose some goodwill from the customer, right? And the customer may complain about it. All right, you have to deal with them, make them happy, and make them are willing to buy some of the other products in the later days, right? You don't want to lose your customers, and of course the product repair. All right, so these are some external failure costs. So no matter it's internal failure costs or external failure costs, although the cost of defects coming from different things, one is within system, one is passed through the system, right? But these two different costs are occurred once the defective products actually occurs. Okay, happens. All right, this is afterward thing. All right, but the appraisal cost and the prevention costs are the basically is before the defect products is happening or test the product. All right, so let me ask you one question. Okay, in all these four different costs, which one you think is the most important cost within the quality management? Okay, think about this. Okay, actually, the prevention cost is the most important cost. Why? If you can figure out, let's say this, if you can figure out the reasoning behind, okay, why actually, what steps or why the quality actually increase or decrease during the production process. If you can figure out this reasoning, okay, you can get rid of a lot of costs within the production process. All right, so the text already shows that. Okay, it tells us a rule of thumb is that for every dollar you spend in prevention dimension, all right, every dollar you spend in prevention, you can save $10 in failure and appraisal costs. That's why actually this is based on the past experience, okay, from the real industries. So that's why we always want to figure out the reasoning, okay, at the beginning to get rid of the those defective things. Although we know that even if we figure out some reasons, we cannot figure out all of the reasons. But even at least if you can figure out the major reasons why we have defective products, you already save a lot of money for your company. That's very precious for the company. All right. Okay, so this is the cost of quality. Let's move on. Okay, so we already talked about some the quality dimension, the quality management, different costs of quality. All right. Now we jump to the second part. Basically, it's the ISO criteria. Okay, what is the ISO? It's the International Organization for Standardization. All right, the ISO criteria. Okay, so starting from 1987, the ISO start to set different type of the criteria for for the different firms. All right, so this is it. They are including ISO 9000, 14000, and ISO 26000. All right, so let me ask you a question. All right, so why is actually starting from 1987? More and more countries, more and more firms, or more and more industries are starting to to consider having a consistent criteria for their own. All right. The reason behind it is very simple, because starting from 1980s or 1990s, all right. The firm with firm, or the industry with industry, start to globalize, right? They start to globalize, and then in the old days, we know that every firm may have their own quality management criteria. Every industry have their own quality management criteria. But since actually this firm start to globalize, right? In different countries, they cannot actually have totally different criteria. That's why they really need a consistent criteria for their firm, for their industry, right? That's why ISO start to build up this consistent criteria, okay, for different firms, different industries in different countries, all right, in order to be consistent with each other, all right. Nowadays, as you can see, more than 160 countries are start to use those ISO criteria. Okay, we're not talking about all those ISO criteria today. All we would do today, we will briefly talk about 3 different criteria that is related to quality management. Okay, the quality management. Okay. So ISO 9000, ISO 14000, ISO 26000, these 3 different criteria, although they're all related to quality, but they actually have their own target, own focus. Okay. First of all, for ISO 9000, all right. So ISO 9000 has become an international reference for quality management requirements in business-to-business dealing. So this is mainly related to quality management. Okay, this relates to mainly dealing with the quality management. Okay, although ISO 14000 and ISO 26000 is also related to quality, we will talk about briefly just in a second. But let me give you a quick sense about it. So although this ISO 14000, ISO 26000 is also related to quality, but the main criteria that's related to quality is ISO 9000. All right. Okay, let me briefly talk about ISO 9000. All right. So now ISO 9000 standards are based on 7 quality management principles. Okay, since it's related to quality management, it has to have some principles or very specific criteria related to quality management, right? Here we have, let me list all those 7 different principles. Okay, so they cover the different areas, all right, 7 different areas. The first one, and like I just mentioned, the most important one is the customer focus, all right? Or the reason that if you want to improve your quality is to better fit for your customer needs, right? If you actually improve your quality but it's not fit for customer needs, it's useless. So that's why for the first most important area within ISO 9000 standards is customer focus. Second one, leadership, right? Even if you understand the customer need, you still need the management leadership in order to give a very specific plan to fit the customer need. That's why the second area is about leadership. Third one, involvement of people. exactly what we just mentioned, right? You have to train your employee, you have to tell your manager what do you want to do in order to improve the quality. So you need to involve people. This is the third area. First one, process approach. Okay, even if you tell your manager, tell your employee, you need to give them very specific, very specific plan. What kind of statistical tests? What kind of the specific, analytical process you want to get into this, to improve the quality management. All right. The fifth one, the continual improvement. All right. You are not actually. This is not just a one-shot game. You are trying to improve your quality in a long dimension. Right. You want to figure out your reasoning and improve your quality, and sometimes the internal and alternate factors may change in some way. You need to figure out them continuously in order to maintain and improve your quality in a long horizon. Right. You don't want to have any crush during this process. The sixth one, the factual approach to decision making. All right. The factual approach also is very important. We will not talk about this in this chapter. All right. And I think in the next chapter we will talk about it a little bit related to factual approach. All right. This last one is mutual benefit supply relationships. All right. So in order to improve your quality, all right, you cannot just focus on yourself, right? Sometimes it's also need to benefit for your supplier. Okay, upper supplier, down supplier. You have to maintain the relationship between you and your suppliers. That's also very important. So all we just mentioned, all right, are 7 different areas, okay, or 7 different topics that are within the ISO 9000 standards in order to improve the quality management. Okay, if you're interested, just go to Google. It actually the Google will show you the very detailed, not just the principle, detailed every sentence about these different areas. You will get a better sense about every area within the ISO 9000. But keep in mind, ISO 9000 is mainly dealing with the quality management. All right. Now let me briefly talk about ISO 14000 and ISO 26000. Okay, in principle it's quite simple. All right, ISO 14000, although it's also related to quality management, but it's more focusing on the environmental quality management. It's more related to the environmental quality management. Okay, so the standard, the ISO 14000 family of standards on environmental management addresses the need to be environmentally responsible. Okay, to be environmentally responsible. Okay, because right now, as we say, for the company cannot just look at their own profit. Right, at the beginning of this course, we say as a company you cannot just look at your own profit. You still need to look at the environment, look at the community, look at the other stakeholders. ISO 14000 is mainly to improve the environment. Okay, you need to be responsible for your environment as a company. Okay, so the standard define, they say, a 3-pronged approach for dealing with environmental challenges. Okay, the first standard is basically the definition of more than 350 international standards for monitoring the quality of air, water, and the soil. All right, so and actually, as the textbook says, right now the many countries already use the ISO 14000 as the technical best basis for environmental regulations. This is actually very important. All right. The second part, basic of the ISO 14000 is using a strategic approach. Okay. It defines the requirements of environmental management system that can be implemented using the monitoring tools. Okay, so basically, we just give you some sense about what is ISO 14000. But for the more detailed things, if you are interested, please look at the Google or directly look at ISO website. They will give you very specific details about every criteria. All right. The third standard basically encourages the inclusion of environmental aspects in product design, and encourage the development of profitable environment-friendly products and services. All right. So, But in general, ISO 14000 is still basically is a set of standards on environmental management. Okay. Okay. So this is about ISO 14000. Then let's look at ISO 26000. All right. As if we said, okay, for the quality management, we need to be, look at our own profit. Okay, that's right. But besides that, we need to look at the whether it's environmental sustainability. All right, whether it's environmentally sustainability. Okay, that's what ISO 9000, ISO 14000 already deals with. ISO 26000 deals with the social responsibility related to the quality management. Okay, it encourages organizations to discuss social responsibility issues and possible actions with relevant stakeholders. All right, as a company, you cannot just deal with your own shareholders. Okay, you also need to care about your relevant stakeholders, the communities. You need to take your social responsibility. Otherwise, all right, if you do not do that in a proper way, probably the country law will have some you have some problem related to country different country law. All right, so ISO 26000 basically is to discuss the social responsibility issues. Okay, but since in this chapter we're mainly talking about the quality management, right? So we will still focus on ISO 9000. Okay, but just give you some sense about ISO 14000 and ISO 26000. They're related to quality management, that they actually have their more specific focus. ISO 14000 is more focused on the environmental management. ISO 26000 is more related to the social responsibility management. That's it. All right. So actually, let's say go back to ISO 9000. Okay. Actually, right now in many different countries, in many different firms within different industries, lots of firms already use ISO 9000 in order to monitor their quality management. But they may use they may use ISO 9000 in different ways. Okay, here we briefly introduce three different ways. Okay, three different ways. The first way, all right, the firm may audit itself against the ISO 9000. The first of doing it, basically, the firm just look at the ISO 9000 from the website and monitor themselves. Okay, this is the first way. The second way, all right, maybe a customer may auditor the supplier, auditor the firm. All right, so instead of firm monitor themselves, the customer may use this ISO 9000 to monitor the firm. All right, but actually, no matter it's the first way or second way, it may have some problem. It may have some problem because, let's say for the first way, okay, if you monitor yourself as a firm, if you monitor yourself, you cannot you cannot. Sometimes you may be a little bit lazy, and you may not make the standards very, you may meet for the standards very clearly. All right, sometimes. Even if you cannot meet the requirement, it doesn't actually make you into the trouble, right? So the first party is lack of the monitoring. It's lack of the monitoring. All right. The second way, if the customer audits the firm based on ISO 9000, all right. Sometimes the customer, since they actually have two different type of issues. All right. First of all, when customer monitor the monitor for the firm, all right, they may actually set up a very high level. Okay, they may not just use ISO 9000 to make an acceptable product. Okay, they may actually want to make a perfect product for themselves. All right, so but that will incur a lot of cost for the company. Okay, but another issue is that sometimes as a firm, they don't want to disclose some information to the customer, right? So, but in order to make a thorough quality management from customer point of view, they have to get some information. So that will actually have some conflict between the customer and the firm. Okay, so that's another issue. That's why no matter it's the first way or second way, probably is not the best way of doing it, of using ISO 9000. That's why right now, most of the firms, they're actually using the third way. Okay, what they will do basically, the firm probably will invite a qualified national or even international standards agency service as an auditor. All right. So customer will look at the report which is provided by this auditor and see whether the product itself is meeting the criteria also, or is meeting the requirements. All right. So because this way is kind of midway between the first one and second way, right? In this way, the firm is more willing to disclose the information to the agency instead of the customer itself, right? And from the customer point of view, since this is a third party, right? This is agency, outside auditor, right? Their report probably would be more convincing, all right, more convincing and more trustable. That's why it's kind of a balance between the firm and the customer. And now more and more companies are using this way to monitor their quality based on ISO 9000. All right. And if you are interested about the ISO criteria, here also provide a link for you guys. Okay, you can look through different criteria based on this link.
Okay, so all we just talked about is related to the internal control of the quality management improvement. All right, so what this slide basically shows is called external benchmarking, which is also a very important aspect of improving the quality management, right? You can even imagine that actually for a firm, besides internal control, the external benchmarking is also very important, right? Because you have to look outside of your firm. Let's say you need to look at the whole industry, you need to look at your competitors in order to maintain your competitive advantage, right? If you can actually gather some important information or methods from your competitors, all right, that's actually very, very beneficial for you, to further improve your own method, your own position within the industry. All right. So, for example, every firm needs to disclose their financial statement, right? And every firm's operations method normally would be open for other for other firms, right, within the same industry. So if you can learn some quite important, quite crucial information within those, let's say, the financial statement or their operations way, and if you can use that for your own firm, that'll be very, very beneficial. All right, so this is all related to external benchmarking. Okay, so this video is the first video of chapter 10. Thanks for watching.